Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the June 19th edition of the Job with John program. This is our weekly virtual program that we do. That used to be an in-person program that we held at the Senior Center for many months. And over the last 3, we've been doing it online, and we've had a series of great guests every week to try to share information with our seniors and our residents. And we also offered opportunity for people to ask questions and call in. If at the later point of the program you have a question that you would like us to answer, please email manager@actonma.gov, or you can call 978-929-6611. So we have some great guests today, so I'm not going to spend much time talking. I'm going to get right to them, but just a couple announcements I wanted to go through before we get to that. The first is today is June 19th. June 19th is a special day. It's actually a holiday, or it's a day called Juneteenth. And some people don't know what it is, so I wanted to just read a little bit from actually the Juneteenth website so people understand what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth, also called Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. Dating back to 1865, it was on June 19th that Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the war had ended and that enslaved were now free. Note, this was 2.5 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, because it had become official in January 1st of 1863. But the Emancipation Proclamation had little impact on Texas due to the minimal number of Union troops to enforce the new executive order. However, with the surrender of General Lee in April of 1865 and the arrival of General Granger's regiment, the forces were finally strong enough to influence to overcome the resistance. So it took 2.5 years for Texans to recognize the ending of slavery, and it happened on June 19th in 1865. And so that's why this day is celebrated. So there's more information on juneteenth.com, and there's several other notifications and information about that you'll see if you look it up online. But it's a really interesting part of our history. So I wanted to make sure people knew what that was about. Some other items I wanted to make sure I mentioned today are big town meeting coming up June 29th. Our annual town meeting was supposed to be in April. We postponed it due to the COVID pandemic. We're going to hold it June 29th. We're going to hold it in the gymnasium at the high school. We're also going to have an outside section for people that aren't comfortable coming inside. People that are outside will have the same access to information. They just won't have the moderator standing in front of them. There'll be a deputy moderator who's very capable of helping to coordinate the meeting out there. There's a lot of information that we're trying to produce and present to the public so that you have as much information as possible about town meeting before you get there. Your warrant will be arriving in your mail this weekend, probably. Look for that, or maybe Monday. We're going to be posting a lot of information on our website, the actonma.gov/townmeeting. Already has a copy of the warrant if you want to check it out now. And starting on the 23rd, we'll be producing videos with the help of Mark Ducey and ActonTV. We'll be producing videos about each of the articles that are going to be discussed, with the idea being that people have a lot more information to be able to think about and make decisions at the meeting, because presentations will be limited at the meeting to try to keep the meeting brief. So we're going to put as much information out there as possible ahead of time. One other item I wanted to mention, I was notified by Mothers Out Front, which is a local advocacy group, that they're starting a canary tree campaign. And what that is they're going to actually be posting flyers on certain trees throughout the community that they've deemed to be canary trees. And what they're calling a canary tree is one that is potentially impacted by natural gas. So there'll be more information coming when they start doing that. But I just wanted to, if you start seeing flyers on trees, that's what that is. It's Mothers Out Front trying to share information about the impacts of natural gas on trees and our community. Another thing of note that I think people would be curious to hear about is that the fire station project, is officially out to bid. On Wednesday, we put the project out, and they'll be bidding for the next month or so, and then we hope to have a contractor on board before the fall, and hopefully we'll start working on that project this fall. So that's great news. That project in North Acton is a long time coming, and the fire station is going to be a great way to enhance our public safety in the community. So thank you all for your support for that, and stay tuned for any further updates on the construction when it's going to start in a few months, hopefully. So our guests today, I've grouped into two groups. The first group is folks that are going to talk about the COVID-19 response and sort of the ongoing issues and things that we should be thinking about. And the second group will help us talk about town meeting. So our first speaker is a regular and superstar, otherwise, and on this program, our Director of Nursing, Heather York. Heather, what's new today?
Morning, John. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you again. So just some quick updates about COVID-19. The town of Acton is holding steady at 172 cumulative cases. We have 2 cases that are currently under isolation orders and who we are monitoring, along with a spattering of folks under quarantine. 149 people have recovered, and 21 folks have sadly passed away. That number has held steady for quite a while, which is good news. It was more so during the peak. So that is definitely good news for us, since we don't want to see that happening very often. Life Care of Acton is officially a COVID-free facility as of last Friday. They moved all of their COVID patients out of the isolation unit. So they've moved forward with following the guidance per Medicare and Medicaid services on what they need to do if they do have new cases. Also, benchmark at Robbinsbrook. The last I knew last week, there was 1 person left on isolation. I'm 99% positive they have come off of isolation, but I will look into that. So that is good news also. Both facilities have done a really good job with moving forward and getting back to their norm. They're also both doing outdoor visits for family members, which is great. So that's a really, really good thing. Governor Baker is going to come on today sometime to announce that step 2 of phase 2, what those guidelines are. The estimated date is supposed to be Monday, this coming Monday, which, what is the date today? I think it's the 22nd. Some of those guidance information will include indoor dining, personal care services like massage, physical therapy, personal training, nail salons. So some of that will be coming out, and the guidance will be looked at over the weekend, and then the opening dates for some of those are Monday. Just wanted to mention a couple of quick little other tips for the summer months. I spoke about the heat and humidity and staying cool last week, so make sure you're doing that this weekend. It looks like it's going to be a very hot weekend and week. The other things to think about if you're out walking around or working in the yard, make sure you're checking yourself for ticks at the end of the day. You should be using some kind of repellent that has DEET on your exposed skin if the weather warrants it, or you have light colored clothing, long sleeve or pants as opposed to shorts and short sleeves, if you can tolerate it, are always a good idea. And to definitely do a tick check when you're done. Mosquito bites. Mosquitoes are another issue, especially as the summer months go through. You want to make sure that you're not putting yourself at risk for triple E. You want to drain standing water in your yard, fix your screens and screen doors so that the mosquitoes can stay out of your house. Again, a mosquito repellent, and again, wearing clothing to reduce the exposure to your skin, and sort of avoiding the high hours of mosquitoes, which is at dusk. I think that was all I wanted to say, except that happy Father's Day to everybody on the line. Father's Day looks to be a beautiful day. And if my dad's on here, hi, Dad. Happy Father's Day. I love you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for all your hard work over the last few months. And we know the work is continuing. So thank you for everything. So Sharon Mercurio, you're all familiar with. She's the director of our Council on Aging and oversees the Senior Center. Sharon's been very busy preparing for the future of the Senior Center and also helping our seniors stay engaged now while we're unfortunately unable to have the Senior Center open. So Sharon, what's new this week, and where are the plants? There's no plants in the background today?
I've got really sad plans. Austin brought plans for us, so we'll hold off for that. So I know people are getting frustrated, people are getting antsy, and we've had a lot of suggestions of trying to schedule some meetups and programs, but I meet with MCOA, the Mass Council on Aging, and Executive Office of Elder Affairs weekly. We're kind of told to hold firm that at this point follow the safer at home order. So we're doing virtual programming, and it will probably be that way for a little bit. So ActonTV has been a great resource for us. We've got some programs on YouTube. I know ActonTV is getting busy with graduation and town meetings. So if by chance you're looking forward for your 9 o'clock exercise class and it's gotten bumped for one of these other more current things, you can go on our website and we have a whole playlist. So on ActonCoa.com, down at the bottom of the left, there's a click here for playlist. You can click that. You'll see all of our exercise and line dancing and yoga classes there. You can click on them and watch them at your leisure anytime. And we're going to continue doing that as we move forward and bring some newer classes on. We still have some meat bundles. We work with Minuteman Senior Services, their elder nutrition program. They wrote a grant and we were able to get meat bundles, frozen meat bundles. So we have one that has some turkey sausages and sausage patties and hot dogs, and then another one that has chicken nuggets and mozzarella sticks. So if you're interested in receiving that, it's free of charge for any Acton senior. Give us a call and we'll set up a time for you to swing by and pick it up. School lunches also continue at the high school. They've just asked if I could reiterate the times for pickup are 11:30 to 1, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll be having them on as a guest later on one of the Java with Joe shows as well. And I think as we start seeing businesses open, restaurants, bookstores, that sort of thing, if I could just encourage people to support our local businesses. They've been so fabulous for us through the years, you know, for donations and anything we need. They've got safe ways to do pickup and carry out that you call, you don't even get out of your car. So just keep them in mind if you're bored and looking for something to do. That's it for me.
Thank you. Great job as always. And thank you for mentioning supporting our local businesses. We hope that people are able to find a way to do that safely. They have had a tough 3 months or so. Along that same line, I'm pleased to announce that yesterday we, with Joan Gardner, the chair of the Board of Selectmen, drew names for the lottery for the small business grant program. We had 44 companies submit applications and 25 were selected to receive the grants. We'll be discussing on Monday night with the Board of Selectmen and announcing the names of those businesses. But it's an example of how our community has, and our organization has stepped up. The Board of Selectmen right away authorized funding to help these small businesses, and many of them are going to receive grants of up to $4,000, which will help with a lot of the impacts that they've felt. So we're trying to help as an organization, and we hope that our residents help with their patronage when it's safe and they feel comfortable doing so. So another note for how we're responding to COVID as an organization is we have, you know, on March 13th, I think it was, we sent everybody home, and some people haven't come back to town hall yet. But everybody's been working like we are in these pictures. Some of us are at home. And that's been the case since then. But one thing that we wanted to make sure that we did was that we wanted to make sure that residents who call get a person when they call town hall. And one way to ensure that that happens is we create a centralized phone hotline called the Acton Town Services Hotline. This hotline is staffed with our existing employees from all different departments, and they all do a shift to make sure that someone picks up the phone if you call that number, and all of these employees are trained with all the latest information and how to get access to things, almost serving as a hotline operator. And we have one of our MVP employees, Kim Bricker, who volunteered for this assignment as part of her other job that she does. She works in the land use department and does a great job with permitting and several other things. But in addition to that, she's one of our hotline representatives. And Kim is here today with the question of the week that the hotline callers have been asking about, and any other updates that she's ready to share. So Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you, John. As John said, the hotline is a general number that you can call to get any updates. We have a lot of the information right now is changing, so we want to make sure that when you have any questions, you can give us a call. We can send you over to the appropriate department if you're not sure which department to call. And I just wanted to give everyone the question of the week. The most common question that's been asked this week is regarding playgrounds. When are they going to open? I know people, as a parent myself, I know that we're very excited to get kids back on the play structures. So I just wanted to say that the Nara Park Playground is going to be open as of Saturday. And I was told by Melissa Rear, the director, that they will be regularly cleaning this playground. As far as other municipal playgrounds, they're not open as of yet, but they will be soon, and that will be announced at some point. And people can feel free to give us a call, and we'll let you know when we know. So,
What's that number, Kim?
it's 978-929-6619.
Great. Well, thank you for the updates, and thanks for all your hard work on the hotline. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
So the next portion of our program, we're going to invite Austin Cyganiewicz from the Town Manager's Office and Steve Barrett, our Finance Director, with some updates leading up to town meeting. There's been a lot of questions that I've received in various engagements about transportation. So Austin will cover that, and then sort of just generally how are we doing financially. And Steve's all over that. So why don't we start with Austin? Austin, welcome to the program. You're usually behind the scenes. Nice to see you on the camera this week. What's going on with transportation, and how can people get a ride to town meeting?
Sure. So it's definitely important for the town, for residents to be able to access town meetings. So similar to the last several town meetings, the town of Acton is offering free transportation for folks. Door-to-door transportation. So those familiar with the transportation services in Acton will call the Crosstown Connect dispatch. The phone number for that is 978-844-6809. Things are a little bit different this year. In prior town meetings, we were asking folks to call on noon the day of town meeting. We're just pushing that to the Friday before, so that would be June 26th. If you can schedule your ride with dispatch by that date and time, we'll get you a ride to town meeting. What we're doing this year also is a little bit different, is we're obviously encouraging social distancing on the rides. That's why we pushed up the deadline a little bit, is to make sure that we can fit folks still with social distancing in mind for transportation. So again, the phone number for that is 978-844-6809. And looking forward to see you at town meeting.
Thank you, Austin. Yes, please call and schedule a ride. We'll figure out how to get you there, and we'll get you home too, right, Austin?
Yes.
It's a two-way ride, right?
Yeah. So it'll and the good thing about this too is if you, for example, want to leave early, we'll have enough vans and drivers available. So if for some reason you have to go home early, we can take you home as well.
Great. Thank you. So Steve Barrett our longtime finance director, has been working very closely with our team and my office to oversee what's happening from a financial standpoint and how we've been impacted as a community and as an organization, and help us plan for this big town meeting on June 29th. So Steve, thanks for everything you've been doing. And why don't you share with our Java with John audience what's been happening with town finance?
Well, good morning, John. Good morning, everyone. Hello to the citizens on the call. So pursuant to town finances, I'd like to share a couple of items. The first item, as people might think about, cash flow is the lifeblood of any company, whether we are a public sector company or a private concern. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm happy to report that our collection rate on real estate taxes, which is usually around 99.5% by June 30th, is now fast approaching 99%. So there has been very little deterioration of our collection rate. You know, once again, our citizens have stepped up to support the community, and you know, I say thank you to that. So you know, that's the big thing. You know, you're hearing communities around the state starting to have some real problems. What we have that they don't have is a collection rate of close to 100%. So, you know, on the real estate tax side, we're doing just fine. You know, the town also has some other revenue sources, licensing permits, excise taxes, investment income. On that front, we're pretty much approaching about 100% of what we had estimated. It's not quite the robust year that we had going halfway through the year, you know, at 12/31/19. But considering that there has essentially been a, you know, 2 to 3 month stop in different things going on, the collection rate of 100% on our non-real estate revenue sources is also pretty remarkable. So, you know, as we approach our year end, which is June 30th, I see us on solid financial footing. Our reserve levels are consistent with a AAA rated community. So, you know, we see very little financial effect right now as of 6/30/20. And as John said, we're working with all the department heads on a variety of subjects. So, you know, so we're very comfortable through June 30th. In terms of what's coming up, we cross over to FY21 on July 1. We have a town meeting on June 29th to seek approval for the FY21 budget. You know, the budget represents a market basket of services for the community. From a high level, what we've done in terms of our revenue estimates for FY21, we've pulled our revenue estimates back to FY20 levels. So we're adopting a very conservative approach as we kind of move through FY21. You know, we're essentially in a bit of a holding pattern until we get word on state aid. That will come out late fall, early winter. The budget that we're recommending approval on the 29th provides for all necessary services to the public, things like the folks on the call, nursing, you know, all these different services that we have. Right now, those services are up for approval on June 29th, and we'd ask those that are able to attend on June 29th. That's about all to report from the front, John. But thank you very much to the citizens for continuing to carry the day.
Great, nice update, and great work over the last few months, keeping things straight and helping explain to everyone what's going on. It's been a challenging time for all parts of our organization. The public health obviously has been strained to do a lot of things that take a lot of time and a lot of work. But every one of us has increased what we're trying to do every day because of the situation that we're in. People call it unprecedented. It certainly has been. So we're at the point now in the program where we take questions. I think it's a good sign that people aren't really asking that many questions. I think we're sharing a lot of information, and maybe it doesn't require any clarification, so that's good. And maybe the fact that we're doing this every week, the questions that are out there are fewer and fewer, which is great. That's one of the goals here, is to try to keep people informed. We did have one question though for Austin. Austin, how are you ensuring riders' safety on the van, and is the van available for people who want to go shopping?
Yes, so the van is available for essential trips only. Since mid-March, essentially kind of when COVID started, we scaled back services. For our on-demand services, the demand response services, the ones that folks schedule rides, we're just doing essential trips only. And the way that we're encouraging safety on the van and social distancing is we actually scaled back the capacity that we're allowing on the van. So we're actually following the MBTA's lead on this with the ride. They're allowing 2 to 3 passengers on the van at a time. So that makes things a little bit complicated, especially when you have a lot of requests for several van trips. So that's why we also had to scale back the trips that were allowed. So essential trips include medical appointments, shopping trips, trips to the food pantry, things like that. So for more information, again, please call the dispatch. The 2 dispatchers, Nancy and Tim, will do their best to work with you. The hours are 8:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. And typically we're asking for a 24 hours notice for a van trip. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you for the update. I have a question here about the rental assistance program. I mentioned earlier in the program how the Board of Selectmen approved a small business grant program. They also approved the emergency rental assistance program, which was meant to help with residents with certain income restrictions, provide them with a few months of rental subsidy based on an application process that's overseen by Laura Ducharme, our community resource coordinator, and administered by our regional housing office. My understanding is there's still the grant, or that application period had been open from June 1st to June 15th. My understanding is they are extending that because there's still funding available. So if you were interested in that program and didn't send in an application or didn't contact Laura, I encourage you to do so now, because there's still an opportunity to access some of that relief. I don't have Laura's number in front of me, but the great thing about the hotline is you can just call the hotline and they'll get you there. Kim, what's that hotline number again?
It's at 978-929-6619.
Great, thank you. So yeah, for more information, call the hotline and we'll connect you with the latest information about that program and any other things that that come up. So that looks like all we have. We're at the half-hour point. It's been a great program. I appreciate all of your work, all of the guests here today, taking time out of your closing out your week to join us on the program. Thank you to the folks behind the scenes, Justin, Mark, and Mark, and all of you listeners and watchers. Have a great weekend. Stay cool, and we'll see you next week.